Hey there, it's Dusty Thunder again with another AITA story for you. This one is, am I the astronaut for getting my mother-in-law kicked out after she spilled coffee in my suitcase? I, 24 female, came home at 3 a.m. from a work trip a few days ago. I was jet-lagged, only wanted to see my wife, 25 female, and go to sleep. I was surprised to see that my mother-in-law, 48 female, was also waiting with my wife for my arrival at our living room. That's the first thing you want to see when you walk in the door. The second I walk in, my mother-in-law starts complaining about how I was supposed to arrive at 2 a.m., how she's been up for 1 hour more than she thought she would, etc. I had sent a message to my wife that my flight was delayed, but my mother-in-law thought that I should have sent her a message as well, even though I didn't know she would also be there waiting for me. My wife calmed her mother down, and I told them that I was going to sleep. That was apparently another thing for my mother-in-law to start complaining about. She thought that I needed to empty my suitcase before I went to sleep. My wife stood up for me and told her mother that I don't need to empty it out right now. I can do it in the morning when I wake up. They argued for a little while, but finally I got my permission to go to sleep from my mother-in-law. At this point, I need to say that I left my suitcase closed and it was out of the way, standing near a wall. Fast forward to the next morning when my wife and I woke up to a scream from my mother-in-law. Both of us got straight up from bed and went to see what happened. My mother-in-law stood horrified in the middle of our living room and she was looking at my suitcase, which now was laying open on the floor. My wife asked what happened and my mother-in-law responded that she had accidentally spilled coffee in my suitcase because I had left it open laying on the floor. My wife and I both knew she was lying because I did not leave this suitcase like that. I looked at my suitcase and immediately realized that the amount of coffee in my suitcase didn't match the size of the cup my mother-in-law was holding because the cup was small and there was a lot of coffee in the suitcase. I started crying because everything that I had in the suitcase was ruined. My mother-in-law started saying I was overreacting and I shouldn't have left my suitcase laying around like that. She said I was an asshole because I blamed her for what happened. At this point, my wife kicked her mother out and comforted me. Now that a few days have passed, I've started thinking that maybe I did overreact and it really was my fault that mother-in-law spilled coffee in the suitcase. So am I the asshole? What? Why? This whole scenario, except for the very, very end, is like it's very, very, very clear that mother-in-law was trying to pull off this thing and also wasn't very good at acting. And it's just like,
oh dear, I have spilled my coffee all over your open suitcase. If only you had put it away like I had told you to.
The suitcase was zipped up and out of the way last night, and all of a sudden it's open in the middle of the floor and full of more coffee than can fit into your cup. She made multiple trips with her cup, dumped it in, came back. 3 cups later is like, there, that seems like enough.
Oh no!
And then it's like, you tried to blame this.
How dare you try to blame this on me? I could have been severely burned.
And then you would be looking at a lawsuit. Why was she staying there in the first place? Apparently she's staying with him, otherwise she wouldn't have been there overnight, right? Unless she just stayed the night to welcome him home, which why was she there to welcome him home? Nobody wants extended family or like more family there when they return from a trip and they're all feeling like shit and they're jet lagged and they're like, legitimately, I need to get out of these clothes, I need to take a shower, and I need to go to bed. And instead you walk into like a surprise party. Okay, here's the top comment. Candy Thunder included the top comment for us. Top comment, NTA, the suitcase was zipped up and closed and standing on its end. To get it to how mother-in-law had it, she would have had to lay it down, unzip it, open it up, and then go into the kitchen, make the coffee, and then pour it in. Do you hear how unhinged those steps sound? At any point, she could have stopped and asked herself, what the am I doing? But she didn't. You are definitely not the asshole here. We'll make that official. NTA. The part that I don't get here is where OP is like, now that a few days have passed, I've started thinking that maybe I overreacted and it really was my fault. Dude, what? Is okay, which has me questioning if mother-in-law is a little bit better of an actor than I thought she was, because this all sounded so hokey and ridiculous that it was completely transparent. But then OP's like, shit, did I do that? Did I open it? Did I somehow manage to create some kind of like multiverse collision to where more coffee could fit in a cup than the cup will hold? And then that just like end up in my, is it my fault? Is it my fault? If anything, OP, I would be, if putting myself in OP's shoes, if anything, I would be thinking, am I losing my mind? Like, am I seeing things that just aren't there? Because this shit's just crazy. This is a level of crazy that just can't be explained away at all. This is she had to get her way so badly that she was willing to go through all of those steps in the wee hours of the morning just to do something that would further prove her point that you should have listened to her in the first place. This could be an idle hands issue where someone's just so bored that they fixate on that one thing and cannot let it go and create some kind of scenario just to recall back to that one thing over and over and over again. Oh my gosh. I bet some people are responsible enough to like fully unpack everything as soon as they walk in the door to get home. But not me. Nope. It's like, we're going to get that crap in the morning. He got home at 3 a.m. 3 a.m. And she's like, you should really unpack everything right now. Go ahead and start the washer. You need to wait for that cycle to finish so you can put them in the dryer. And then you need to wait for that cycle to finish so you can hang up and fold your clothes. Oh dear. Well, now he has to because they're covered in coffee. Garbage.